Hi, band fans.
And welcome to this week's Band Fan TV with On the March videos.
We have got a new setup.
Isn't it great?
What?
What are you doing?
What do you think?
This is our new studio.
But this is me at the parade.
Oh, I.
Oh, that's
We're in the
right.
wrong place.
Oh, come on round here.
Clear off. Go on. Go on, get out.
All right.
Seriously? Coming in here, taking over my studio. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to another episode of the Made the Parade podcast. You're joining us on our 90th episode, and to this episode, we are joined by Neil and Elaine from On the March. So we're going to get straight into it. Folks, welcome along to episode 90 of Made the Parade. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Neil and Elaine from On the March video, guys. Delighted to have you here.
Delighted to
We're
be
glad
here.
to be here.
Brilliant. How's things going with you anyway? Obviously, the season's up and running. What's the crack?
Yeah, we have 2 parades done already and really looking forward to getting back out again in the near future.
Yeah, we're out on Saturday night. It is Weber's Wild, so this is our first time of going there. So really looking forward to seeing what bands Tim has this time around.
Brilliant. He's got 2 events on this time, doesn't
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one in Scotland also, I think being run by Defenders of the Rock, Dumbarton.
Oh, part of the rock. Yeah, definitely good stuff. It's good to see him kind of expanding things out a wee bit.
It
Isn't it? Yeah.
really is. I mean, he has done fantastic fundraising over the years that he's been doing this. Great support from everybody. It's brilliant.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I was at one a couple of years back there. I think Royan, we were down doing a wee bit of a stream
That's
on
right.
it and stuff, and he always gets a good turnout. So he does, yeah. But well, folks, obviously wanted to get you on. It was almost like a pre-season kind of look at what's coming ahead. You know, in terms. I know you've said there's already been a couple of parades, but what are your kind of thoughts then on the sort of the upcoming marching season? What things are you looking forward to?
Quite a few things coming up this year. There's quite a few histories this year, anniversaries this year. There's quite a few things going on. Also, this year's going to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Junior Orange Lodge too. So they're having a big parade in Lisburn at the end of May. So we're looking forward to that. But we have a few things planned too for later in the year.
Yeah, Liam, what about you? What are you looking forward to?
I think I'm really looking forward to getting back out and meeting people. For us, you know, the bands is one thing, but it's the social side of it as well. And we have made such great friends over the years. So getting back out and seeing everybody again will be good as well.
How do you feel in the lead up? Because whenever you think about it, you know, February or January, having a parade in January, whenever obviously just not that long after Christmas, does it feel like you're heading into the band season with it there? I know because there's a wee bit of a gap in between the next bunch of parades and stuff.
Well, our last parade was the 16th of December,
Right.
so we only actually had about
A couple of weeks off.
we only had 3 weeks off.
Right. Okay.
You know, so we don't say parading season, we just say it's a band year.
Yeah.
You know, it just rolls on January to December.
Yeah, because it used to be really definable, didn't it? It used to be you knew, hey, once you got to the sort of like end of August, September time, whatever else, that was, hey, parades are pretty much
Yep.
done and dusted, and then you had to wait until Easter again before things kicked in.
And there's a lot of bands out there do finish, you know, sort of end of August, into the early September, and there's no more. And we're sort of going, hey guys, there's still more parades. And,
Yeah.
you know, there's more events. And when you get to Remembrance, then it starts to dwindle down into December.
Exactly, that's it. And then the amount of indoors that come up as well. It used to be, so I know there was an indoor type season as well. It's like whenever things kind of got a wee bit colder, that was when you went indoors and stuff. But I was just looking at the Ravens schedule for the next, sort of 2 months ahead. I think we've got 4 indoors already in the first couple of months of the year, so it doesn't seem to matter anymore, does it?
It's a great money raiser for a lot of bands, and they've got really, really popular. And even now, some of the bands go and do 2 or 3 in one night because they're already out. So what they do is to go and support 2 or 3 other bands at the same time.
Yeah, no, it is good. And I think, and as you mentioned, it's an important thing, especially in regards to the fundraising thing. While there's a lot of opportunities out there, there's opportunities out there. I'm thinking even of the instrument fund from the Arts Council. That went well this year, didn't they? End up releasing a load more money. But outside of that, bands really just have to look after themselves, don't they?
I don't think people realise how much it takes to run a band. Uniforms, you're talking telephone numbers if you've got a big band, and then you've got all your instruments, your journeys. Transport's a huge cost nowadays for bands.
It's crazy. I know we've talked about that a lot on the thing, and I think one of the things that, the last time there was a report done on this, I think it was maybe 10 years ago in regards to the amount of money the bonds are putting out. But I think if you were to do that now, you'd find that that's astronomical. It's going through the roof, for everything in terms of transport costs and everything. I know that there's some bonds that are going, hey, we can't really afford to do as many parades in those far out places because it's costing us thousands for a bus.
Parades are getting quite regionalised and bands are staying in their local area. So it's simply because they just can't afford to travel. And an awful lot of bands now go by car. You get one driver, maybe 2 or 3 people chip in for the petrol money.
Yeah.
And that way they can afford to go out maybe once a week or twice a month.
I know.
It's
crazy.
Really
Like bonds like like those big bonds, in terms I'm thinking of like Drumderg, the East Belfast Protestant Boys, the GERT, whatever else. I mean, that must be an absolute nightmare in terms of organising travel for that. You know what I mean? Well, we're starting about the negatives here, aren't we? But obviously you guys get a heck of a lot of parades, and we'll kind of explore a wee bit more about what you do and how you do it. But are there any bonds specifically this year that you're really looking forward to seeing on the road?
as long as they're Protestant, I don't really mind.
We'll cut that out there for the sectarian thing. I know.
Really, we do have our favourites. We do have those that we like to see on the parade. But for myself, over the last 3-4 years, there's been about 10 new bands. In fact, I was just reading last night how Tigers Bay Loyal are hoping to be on the road this year, and they're formatting today. It'll be the official starting day for Tigers Bay Loyal. So over the last 3 or 4 years, there's been about 10 new bands. So I would really looking forward to seeing the newer bands come out on the road, see if they're growing in numbers, growing in strength, see their new styles and that. Last year, earlier in the year, we had done an interview with Imperial Guards about them starting out their first parade and all. So it'll be good to see them out this year to see how they're improving, are their numbers up or down. So really looking forward to seeing a lot of the new bands again.
Yeah, good stuff. What about you, Elaine?
I want to see how Portrush manages their parade this year. So a couple of years ago, the golf was there in Portrush, and Portrush decided that they would cancel the event and they would just have down in the outside what was Barry's. They had a few bands playing. This year they're deciding to go ahead with the parade. So how they manage to have that done and getting the police's cooperation and everything, I think it's an absolutely fantastic opportunity for them to showcase some of Northern Ireland's leading marching bands to people around the world. You know, people are there to see the golf. You know, the golf will be finished by the time the parade's starting. So it'll be great for them as well to be able to showcase it. But I would get your parking space there, like.
Oh, good God, that's what you get down the day before kind of thing.
It really is.
It really is.
Because it's a disaster. I mean, I think we did Portrush last season, I think, and it was one of we had to park up miles away from where we needed to congregate and stuff. But it's great that they get the support, you know, in terms of the amount of bonds that turn out at the
Phenomenal. Really is.
The crowd, the whole town is black. It's absolutely amazing. You walk down there by Barry's to the Cenotaph, and it could be 10 deep on both sides of the road. And it's probably one of the biggest or well-supported parades of the year.
Yeah.
Bomb parades anyway, it really is.
Yeah, no, it is. And if you get the weather, and it's also...
The weather and the atmosphere, it is. It's
it really adds to it, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does.
So it's so... in terms of, I know for me, in terms of, like you, there's a couple of new bonds, and I'd heard that, you know, the Tigers Bay were back again, because they had an attempt a few years ago as well, I think, you know. And
it was more of a memorial band that got together for an old member and an anniversary, and they hope to keep that going, but it didn't last very long. But
yeah,
you know, they're going to have another go, and hopefully they get the numbers and the support they need.
No, definitely, because you always think, I mean, obviously down that direction, then on down the road, you have, obviously there's Pride of the Shore and stuff, you know, and there's a couple of other bonds down there as well. But it's good to have the local area bond as well, you know, because you miss that. You think of some of the bonds that have disappeared over the years and stuff, you know, and leave certain areas without maybe a bond representation and stuff, you know.
There's a new band started up in Tandragee. Right. We only found that out this week too. So again, we're looking forward to seeing them out on the march. Last year we seen a band for the first time, and they're from Stewartstown. It's a Chambray flute band, and There used to be a band in Stewartstown for about 50 years, and sadly it folded. Well, these boys have got back together again, and they're trying to get it up and running.
Yeah.
And they were a very decent wee band last year, so looking forward to see how they get on in their second year.
Good stuff. Because there's but it likes a Ballyclare and all that originally,
Yeah.
you know. Now I know I think they're a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the road, you know, but we seen them at the Pitch Perfect event, and they were going great guns to the world.
Yes,
Playing
for the
last
numbers.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the video of them last night at
they
their
sounded
practice,
really
and it
well.
sounded fantastic. Really, really good.
Yeah, they really put the hours in.
Yeah,
don't they?
oh, definitely. Oh, you have the likes of Castle Guards from Carrickfergus, Pride of the Island from Ellen McGee down sort of Ballycarry direction, and then a wee band that's done really well in the last year is that Grenadiers. Clocker Valley Grenadiers.
Right.
I mean, they put some effort in. They were everywhere. They really, really worked hard last year, and I think it's paying off for them. They're a really good wee band.
Brilliant, but it takes that, doesn't it? I mean, it's not. It's one idea to have here. Let's form a band. It's another to kind of keep that the interest going. Because I even think of one of those bands in Scotland there that come on the scene. The Thievel Memorial come on the
Yes.
scene. And they've kind of had a wee bit of a dip there, I was seeing on the socials that they had a wee dip in terms of numbers. But we really need people to get involved and stuff, and stay involved with the whole thing. But I know life's changed, life's different these days,
Well, we've been talking to different bands over the last few years, and a lot of bands are bringing the kids in, starting them young. And if they're walking with 10 people at the front of the band, at least they're in the band. And then they go from the stick maybe to the cymbals, and from the cymbals to the flute and the drum. And, last year we had a fantastic interview.
With the kids in Corncastle. Absolutely amazing wee bunch of kids. They were brilliant, and the enthusiasm of them. And then the band actually put them in the middle. So the band had surrounded them, so they could, they had the confidence that if they were going to make a mistake, nobody was going to see them, and they walked along, and to see them over the year progressing, their confidence building, their ability getting better. Oh, they were great.
Yeah,
really good.
No, I love that. I love seeing that because when I'm, over the last couple of years, Ballymajok had the same kind of thing. They had a load of kids involved, and they've all started to grow up with the band. But it's just one of the, you love to see that, where community gets involved with their local band, and they start to reap the benefits from being involved in that. As you say, the confidence aspect, the sense of belonging and everything that comes with that. For young kids, they need that, don't they? Young kids really need that sense of, and especially in this day and age, where everything's kind of individualized, you do everything on your own. We kind of lost that sense of connection with each other, and I think that's one of the things that we always talk about, that the bands bring a sense of connection to people within their community. And it's not just in the band, but even just the way their community having the band as part of it, which was maybe one of the reasons why it'd be great for Tigers Bay to get one of those back as well, So
You do see it on social all the time, the family, the band family, and that's right. They all stick together, they become one big unit.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now you mentioned one parade there in regards to Portrush being, one of the highlights of the year. Are there any others that for you are standout parades? Ones maybe outside the norm, because it's easy for we all go for for me, Dairy Day, 1st of July, or whatever else. They're kind of your go-to kind of parades. But are there any other parades in the calendar that you kind of go, you're always looking forward to?
Tullyvallen.
Right.
people know that we enjoy Tullyvallen. Tullyvallen is, it's not even so much as a parade as an event. And we always tell the story of the first time we went down, and we parked the car in the wee car park at the football pitch. And we came out and we asked the 2 police officers, where does the parade start? And the guy looked at us, he says, "You're not from around here, are you?" And we went, "No, we're from North Belfast." And he went, "Right, okay." He says, "Well, see that church up there? Some of the bands will start up there, and some of the bands will start down there, and some of the bands will probably start here." He says, "But if you go up to the Orange Hall, you'll get to see them all." And it was so right. I mean, it was fantastic. Bands just turned up. They only actually walked 100 yards.
Right, okay.
Then they walk into the front of the Orange Hall, where there's a nice area for them to stand. They play 2 or 3 tunes, and then they fall out. And it's such a night. There's a barbecue on the go. There's a tuck shop.
Cake stall.
a cake stall. There's games into the tent.
These old-fashioned ones that you throw bean bags and all too.
Yeah, I
Right,
mean,
okay.
a real funny atmosphere.
Bouncy castle.
But one thing that really brings a laugh is when you go over into the field, there's a bouncy castle, and in the corner of the field, they have air rifle shooting. And we sort of looked at each other and thought, you wouldn't find that in the North Road.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine turning up on the 1st of July or something and saying, "Here, do you just want to have a wee? Do you want to pick one of these wee air rifles up here and have a go?" Do you know what I mean?
But such a parade. It's a real brilliant atmosphere. It's fantastic. And then you go into the Orange Hall and have a row of tables up the middle, and all the tea and the buns and the cakes and the sandwiches is there. You put your donation in the bucket and you lift and eat what you want.
Right.
And it's fantastic. That's one of our favourites.
It would be, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally different atmosphere, isn't
It
it?
really is.
Yeah.
But every year we try and pick one or two parades that we've never been to before. Last year we went to Curran, which is near Mackerfield and Mackeraw there last year. As Elaine says, one of these wee rat-a-tat-tat bands, with the skeleton drum.
Oh yes, yes.
So we went to their parade last year. The year before we went to Knocklockman, an accordion band parade, and that was fantastic. I mean, there must have been 20. I know you aren't a big accordion fan, but it must have been 20 different accordion bands on it. It was fantastic, really, really good night. So every year we try and pick at least one different one that we've never been to before. So we do, but there's a few coming up this year I'm looking forward to. Say the juveniles, it's 100. They're having a big parade in Lisburn. All the juveniles from Northern Ireland all come together. So they are. And Lisburn's going to get it good this year because Easter Monday's in Lisburn as well.
That's right.
And it's getting big. Scarville is always a big day.
Where's the Lisburn District 12 this year? Is it? It's not in Lisburn. It's somewhere else this year.
I'm
Isn't
not
it?
sure. I haven't looked to see where the 12th's all are. I only know where you're going.
If you go on the Lisa and Chris's page, Loyal Ulster Scouts Bands, they have a list up all the parades
Yeah.
and the venues, and it's always a good place to start if you're looking somewhere to go.
Yeah, no, definitely. Any others that stand out for you? You Tully Vallon, but anything else?
Portrush is
Port
always
Rush
good.
is always
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
We always like Port Rush. I think we're starting to get to the stage where we've been to most bands periods. So it's finding that their new one or that different one
Yeah.
for us now. I mean, a few years ago we went to Auckland, which is like in the middle of.
That sounds like one of those made-up places in a Disney film, doesn't it?
It's
It's another accordion band now.
it's a townland outside Castlewellan,
Right.
so it is, and it's a Wednesday night. And I do remember one year we went down, and the fog was that thick you couldn't see the band
Right.
coming. The mass band just came out of the fog
Nuts.
and then disappeared again into the fog. It was
There was another year where you had to cable tie the umbrella to the camera.
that was a
Yeah,
mistake.
that was a mistake. But yeah, no, it was different. But you always meet wee characters
Right.
Yeah.
at all of these parades.
Yeah, but it definitely does sound like one of those places that you only see on the weather map. They kind of going, I didn't know that place existed.
God,
It
it really is.
Brilliant, good stuff. And I know for me, one of the things that I love getting to parades anyway, but it was mostly with the band. I don't really get an opportunity to go myself. But and I obviously feel like a spare part when I'm watching a parade. If I'm not out with the band, it has a real strange kind of feeling as a bandsman. I don't know. Obviously, long time since you'd walk with a band, Neil, but
Yeah.
I find it just weird to stand and watch it. Like this is wrong. I shouldn't be doing this.
I
I should
suppose
be.
with a camera in your hand, or you've always got something to do, or
Yeah.
chase another band coming around the corner. So that keeps us right and busy. But more or less, we talk to that many people and meet that many people, and so many people have got to know us.
Yeah.
That you're never alone for very long. Somebody's always willing to have a yarn with you.
No. One of the things that I wanted to ask you about as well was, have you been, you guys that go to, you cover some miles, you have been to a serious amount of parades. I mean, you are talking about bands that probably some people even listening to this don't even know exist, right? But are there any kind of like new trends or changes that you've noticed developing in the marching band scene recently? I know for some people, there's been a real emphasis on trying to get that family area set up and stuff like that. We talked about that. Was there anything you're kind of seeing developing in the scene that you kind of go, that's great?
Trends change over the years, and sometimes it's tunes. You get a popular tune. A few years ago it was like Penny Lane, and
Penny
everybody
Arcade.
Penny Arcade, sorry.
Penny
Penny Penny Arcade, every band was playing, and like you were making a video of a parade, and like half of the bands were playing the same tune.
Yeah.
You had to actually go chasing a band to get a different tune. And then this year it was the Rangers tunes are always quite popular, so they are, and they kind of do trends. So
Sing for the Boys.
Sing for the Boys has got really,
Yeah,
really
yeah.
popular this last year or two, and then for a while there it was uniforms, and you got a lot of bands wearing the same kind of uniform. Well, something we were talking about over the last couple of days is, we've found a lot of bands now have junior bass drummers.
Right.
So there is, sometimes out in the front, sometimes beside the bass drummer themselves, but a lot of them are encouraging the kids into the band and giving them a bass drum and saying, go ahead there. And I remember it was Gertrude's anniversary parade way back, I think 2012, and they had the young lad out in front of the band, and he was beating 7 bells out of it. He was fantastic, but the crowd around him, and he was loving it. So he was, and I put that in video on the YouTube, and the views I got was fantastic, and people just loved it.
Yeah.
And from then, I think it's just grew and
That's
grew.
really great.
You know,
We kind of think that maybe there should be a prize for the best junior bass drummer. You've got a bass. What band wins bass drum? You've got junior drum majors. So
I think you should have one for like our bass drummer, somebody who's standing at the stage, been giving it this.
you get a few of them behind the band right enough, and so
No, but there is. I think that's great because even the amount of even just young say drummers as well. Starting to appear, obviously using harnesses instead of slings and things. Is great. But it is great to see that and you're right, because there's other bands that are posting videos of their junior bass drummer, and I actually think some of them are better than the guy that's on the big drums.
And even the side, the kids playing the side drums, and you've got them sitting with their drum on a wee chair, and like they don't miss a beat.
Yeah, I know. I was down with Saw Memorial recently, and they have a serious number of young drummers in their outfit now as well. I was sitting in the practice, and obviously they've got them later drums made.
Yeah,
they weren't
yeah.
getting half drums, but they were the later version of I think it was the British Drum Company things, to making them look like the same. But just the idea that they're up there standing with the adults in the practice, and I think they may actually hit the road this season with maybe about 10 to 12 drummers.
They do.
So
they've come on really
Come
well.
on really well, and they've also got a lot of kids learning the flute and all as well.
Yeah.
So they have. So,
There's a good crowd down in I was down. I was down checking out some bass drums and things, because we were looking at the Raven were looking to get a new bass drum, and then we're just taking a bit of advice off bands that had 2 or 3, and the song had 3 different types of drums, so it was an easy and let's go down and listen. But what we did though, we found an old Premier drum in the back hall of the Rangers club that we hadn't used for years, so we just got it refurbed, which is great. But I wouldn't have been talking to the guys in the song unless we were looking at that and stuff. But as I say, down to the practice, blown away by just the amount of kids that were there and their parents.
Yeah.
Yes.
Their parents in the room with them as well. I thought was brilliant.
They have.
Well, we go to Scotland every year with some for the June Rally, the Apprentice Boys. Another one of our highlights of the year, so it is, and a great bunch of guys. But the last couple of years, they didn't exclude the kids. The kids were going to Scotland too, but one of the parents was going with them. And the kids were included in everything.
Yeah, and that's something that's changed over the years. I think that safeguarding measure has changed. Like, because I remember when I was a kid going to Scotland, it was like there was not even a hint that your parents were going anywhere near it. And then when you arrived there, you were landed in some stranger's house. You know what I mean? Like, and you're like going, hey, that was just great. Hey, you're staying with these guys while we go and stay with these guys and stuff. And that's all kind of changed
People
now,
are
hasn't
horrified
it?
when you did that now.
I know, good grief. Can you imagine? Good grief. All sorts of cases coming on with there.
In the front of the papers.
Right, let's move on from that. No, but it is great to see the bonds involving kids. I know we've said that previously as well, but there's just so many instances of it. And one of the things, I think maybe that leads me into the idea of recruitment as well. And some bonds struggle with the recruitment side of things. So as remember we mentioned Ballyclare earlier on, and I know I'd spoken to them at the Pitch Perfect event, and then on a number of small bands that were there, and that was the one thing you heard over and over again was recruitment. We don't know what we need to do to increase our levels of recruitment, and maybe that's something we should do on a podcast or a show is look at the way some bands are actually doing it. Because I think some bands go through fits and starts, don't they, where family members join, they've got young family members and they kind of join, and then as they get older they kind of go, well, the band's not cool anymore, and you kind of go through those, you know, ebbs and flows.
All bands go through it, you know, they all have their haze and their heydays and, you know, their struggles as well. But yeah, it's getting the kids in and teaching the kids, you know, if you can get a few and they bring their mates, I mean, it can snowball a crowd, draws a crowd, as they say.
That's it.
You know, but yeah, if there was a way of funneling it down to something. But as you say, recruitment, and if you go onto social media, every band's looking new members.
Yeah.
You know, even the biggest of bands are always looking new members.
And I'm not always 100% sure how successful that social media posting is for that. I mean, it's great for getting people aware of your band and all that kind of stuff. But I know that for me, in terms of what we've done, there's been very little uptake on the, you know, when you put that recruitment post out, doesn't seem to be very much coming up. Maybe different for different bands, depending on. But I think there's maybe something else there about the relationship that a band has with its community, you know, in terms of how close they are to the community, as opposed to just being within the community and maybe doing something else that's outside of band life that maybe brings people in or something,
I think
you know?
a couple of years ago, well, the year before last, we were in France and Belgium with Donamoney. And we had actually gone, a lot of the members in Donamoney didn't realise, you know, why do they want to come with us? But we started doing what we do. We did our live stream at the Men and Gate. We started drip feeding all the different things that they were doing at the Ulster Tower and the FIFA Memorial. And they started getting feedback from their family and people in Macrofelt and that. And afterwards, now, I'm not saying it's anything to do with us, because they need to take the credit for how they were at that moment in time. But they got a lot of people interested in the band. And so things, you know, when bands are doing things and you're able to get it out there on social media and making people aware and the community aware of what they're doing, that certainly helps with recruitment, I think.
No, definitely. And it's not like Donamoney need the members, like, or a massive band, you know what I mean? Like, so my mate, there's a guy that works with me, Raymond Love, I think he's, he'll not be taken too kind of me saying that they don't need members, you know what I mean? I was down with him not so long ago there. We were doing a thing as part of Restorative Justice Week, and I was down in the Orange Hall down there doing a circle with the band. You know, a good bunch of guys down there, but there is definitely something. Maybe that's the connections. Maybe about pushing more about here's what band life is actually like. Here's what you can experience when you're with it, and when people see that they'll maybe want to join. Or I've seen a couple of bands doing like individual profiles. You know, the Imperial Guard doing that. You know, here's a band story, or here's what it means to be a member of the band. Where you're trying to make that connection rather than just say, come and join us, when people go, well, I don't really know who you are.
But it's about, like you said, it's about being in the community too. I mean, we had that terrible storm there just a few weeks ago, and I seen on social media different bands going out into the community and help put up fences with clear gardens and that, and it's being part of the community, and people will recognise that and remember them. No, that was the boys from Sydenham that came down and fixed my fence. You know, and that there sticks with people.
Even over COVID, the amount of work that bands did within the local community, you know, whether it was going and getting some cleaning stuff for people, or whether it was giving food out or whatever, you know, they really do put their heart and soul in and give back.
Yeah, and I think that's right. And I think, you know, but I think sometimes maybe bands don't that whole real concerted effort. I mean, for me, it's like, I'm not getting into that, but it should be a case of we shouldn't really need a crisis for us to be involved in our community and stuff. And that's not knocking any of that, but you know what I'm saying?
But there's bands out there in the community working with them, should it be through food groups or, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, even the likes of Lambeg, Orange and Blue, they regularly have a golf day and they raise money and it goes to a local counselling service, and I think they've another charity that they do. But there's bands out there like them that are constantly doing work for community groups. They're not asking for any recognition. They're just wanting to give back.
Yeah. And I think that there's an element, I think it's something we've spoken about on the podcast a couple of times, is that you're not doing this charity-based work for recognition. You're doing it because the charity needs the money. It's a cause or an issue that's close to people within the band. But but it also sometimes you can't help but draw attention to it because of sometimes the
Yeah.
negative outlook that bonds sometimes get, and it's almost your go-to. But we do charity work, and you know what I mean. It's hard to try and sort of strike that balance,
But
isn't
at
it?
the same time, a lot of it's fundraising to try and help
Yeah.
these charities out. And to get the funds in, you have to advertise. And it's not like you're looking recognition, you're looking the funds.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, and as Pride of Raven are one of the biggest fundraisers on all over the years, you know, and they don't go shouting and blowing about what they've done, but it's there for all to see.
I know, that's it. I know, and it's mad because we've changed the date that our event happens. I think we're Easter Saturday this year.
Yeah.
You
So
were
we
looking
are.
at it.
So I know there was because we were one of the guys. There was one of the bonds in Scotland, Blackridge, Thistle, had been on to me and said, "Listen, when's your event happening? Would love to come over and do it." And I was like, "Oh no, I did on." When I got the date, I was like, "Going, it's Easter Saturday." I was like, "Going, mate, you've no chance of us getting over for that there, you know." But it's it's hard to find a date, you know what I mean? And you know, it's hard to find. There's that much stuff going on, and I think for us, I think whenever we naturally had our parade, there was 2 or 3 other events that you were vying against. You know, I think there's definitely a couple of memorial parades on that the day that
Yeah.
we were normally having stuff. And you found out you were just fighting against, well, not fighting, but you know what I mean. You were struggling hard to
I
get
think the
bonds to come
tattoo
down.
or something clashed with
There was one year the
Yeah.
tattoo
Yeah.
clashed with it as well, and then I think one year it clashed with Jerry Cinnamon as well. So, you know what I mean?
Up
So,
against it all.
Well, I know who I'd like to go and watch.
well, Jerry Cinnamon. Folks, talk to me about how On the March and Bonfant TV have expanded over the years, because obviously you started out quite a few years ago. You were going to parades and so on, and then you developed Bonfant TV. I don't know what I was going to say there. I was in Bonfant TV there, going on, I don't know what accent that was. But you developed Bonfant TV as an extension
Yeah.
of what you were doing on the March. So talk to us a wee bit about how that's all developed, how that's going.
Well, we started dating and then run out of places to go and things to do. And I said, "Do you fancy going to a parade?" And we ended up going to a band parade on a date. And then the next thing,
romantic,
the
isn't
I'm just going to say that there. Did he buy you a burger and all or something?
What dirty, greasy one.
big candy onions. And then, you know, we started taking photographs and we got friendly with Quincy and we were putting photographs onto the newsletter and we got a camcorder. And it kind of just
It just snowballed from
snowballed, yeah.
that. It has been kind of quite a natural progression over the years. It has grew gradually and slowly without putting, I was going to say too much effort in. We do put effort in, but it just has gone slowly. Then Neil had this burning idea that I always think of the videographer side and the photograph side as being quite niche. You know, it is what it is and you can't really move from that. A band walks down in a parade. And Neil came up with this idea of Bonfant TV. I was a wee bit apprehensive in how people would sort of take to it and would people sort of like say make fun of him.
Well, we like our holidays, and I was always watching a lot of vlogs about people traveling, and I sort of thought I could do that with the bands. I'm traveling around the country and show the bands and show the parades, and then introduce it. And I thought you could make a show out of this, have a golden old day, a melody band, accordion band, you know, and try and mix it up. And we talked about it for a good 2 years before I actually got the nerve up to go for it. And the 5-question interview was one of the first things that I wanted to do. I thought there was something there because I had seen it done before with, I think it was with football people or something like that there. And it was the same 5 questions for everybody, but you were going around and you were getting people's personal feedback, what was important to them. And actually, it was
Well, it got to the
fantastic.
stage where people actually had the answers
Yeah.
before you even turned up.
Right, okay.
You're-
They're
are
kind of
you-
expecting it.
Or
right?
they were getting a message in you. Are you going to do a 5-question interview? Because I've got somebody lined up for you.
Yeah.
You know, so
But they were really
it
popular.
was good.
And some of the answers was fantastic.
Yeah.
We had our favourites too. So we had,
Oh, we
but,
do.
yeah. And it kind of just grew.
Yeah.
Now, I had done my homework on vlogs, and it was to be 10 minutes, no longer 10 minutes. People lose interest after 10 minutes. Well, I was doing my vlogs 10 minutes rigid, you know, making sure I didn't go over that. And people kept saying, would you not make it longer? Would you not make it longer? So after a couple of years, it finally grew to about 15 minutes, then 18 minutes. And then again, we do the odd special, half hour or something like that. But it's kind of just grew. We kind of say the 5-question interview run its course. We kind of dropped it and we started doing something else. Last year we tried to do, we sent a lot of bands out, a survey, 10-question survey, got a lot of answers back, and we tried to do that. Kind of didn't really work. A lot of the answers were the same as they were, so that wasn't maybe a big success. But it's been really, really good. The feedback on it is, you know, always good.
Yeah.
You know,
And that goes out, it's a weekly thing, isn't it? It's a weekly, yeah.
Religiously on a Tuesday.
Tuesday night, we normally start around the end of March and we go right through to December, and then we take a few months off over the winter.
Yeah.
I get in from work and the studio is set up and it's like, get your dinner into you and hurry up. You know, there's no chance to do anything else. You know, hurry up. And then come here. And then it takes us the rest of the night.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got some outtakes from that there. I know we were joking about getting this thing started, but
He keeps deleting them. I have told him to put them together. You know, it'll be all right in the night.
Maybe we'll do an all right in the night this year. Or maybe add something different.
No, definitely. I've deleted a whole host of mine as well, because there was a good chance that I might get exhaled to some of the things I do.
But it's kind of swapped and changed over the years. Something I brought in, after about a year, there was something I brought in. I was very worried about doing it. I put a verse at the end of.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Put a wee verse up, and there's always a hymn. I always play a hymn every week, and then put a wee verse up. And I couldn't count how many people remarked on the hymn or on the verse. Why do you do that? Keep it going. Never stop.
Yeah.
I wait at the end just to see it. And I've had that so many bands, man.
Yeah.
Which is really surprising. You know, I like your first. Keep the first going.
I think there's a real, but I mean, it's something we were talking about whenever we had the episode there with Pip and China, you know, talking about their conversion experience and stuff. And I think there is maybe some of a sense of maybe a reconnection with the sense that, you know, that our tradition is rooted in a reformed faith. You know, I mean that's where this comes from. I mean, the whole point of the Williamite Wars and stuff was around this idea of, one, yes, you know, freedom for everybody in terms of your religious experiences, but it was done against the backdrop of a transition between what was the Catholic Church at the time, the Protestant Reformation, and so on. And like any transition, there's a flux period that comes as part of that. But it was supposed to be part of our community's heritage, is this idea that faith is a major part of that, you know, and it drives it, you know. So, and
you can see it in so many of the band names as well, you know, Faith Defenders and a lot of other bands, you know, they all have that in it, so they do.
But even the banners and stuff, the Bible stories and stuff that are depicted there, you know, I'm not saying that every lodge member has like a personal faith or whatever else, but the underlying root of it all is rooted in terms of biblical faith, isn't it? So, you know, and I think there can't be anything wrong with that. You know what I mean? In terms of if it makes us more charitable, makes us kinder to people, makes us more aware of what's going on in people's lives, then hey, it can only enhance what
and
we
if you were
experience.
wrong, at least you were a better person.
Well, there you go. Well, that's it. Exactly. You know? And if it doesn't mean anything at the end of the day, you don't lose anything by being nicer to people or kinder to people or charitable. And, you know, exactly. I'm putting a bit of faith and giving some people a second chance and stuff. I mean, that's the other thing I think that's evident there is that, you know, people are so quick to write, you know, someone off. They've done something wrong or they've made a mistake, and we're so quick to write people off. And yet the idea behind the faith is, hey, there is a second chance here. There is the potential for redemption, I suppose, or, you know, or reconciliation, you know. So, long may that continue. I think, you know, that there is such a revival there of people, you know, reconnecting with that, which is great, you know, more power to them. In terms of memorable moments that you have captured, because obviously you've had a few, I'm saying you've had some, like, comical moments that have happened over the years, but in terms of maybe highlights, maybe something from maybe a serious thing that maybe you would say, listen, I'm glad we were there
Oh, yeah.
to capture that. I'm glad we got that on film, and maybe we'll head to maybe something that's a bit funnier towards you, but maybe something on that. There's something you go, I'm so glad we caught that on camera.
There's a few different stories. So there is comical one. I was in Lisbon one night, and it was a memorial parade. I'm not naming the band, and they were coming down towards the river, and the guy was beating away on the bass drum, and the bass drum went rolling down the street. And he went chasing after it, and I had that on camera. It never went on YouTube.
Right.
Did it not?
No, it never
Oh,
went on
Neil.
and there's been a few people tripping and falling and that, but our aim is to promote bands and to show the,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
positive side and things like that there. Although we got them on camera, they don't go
You
on.
walked backwards into a lamppost
I
as
did
well.
that in Lambeck one day.
Did I see, and I hate bringing it up, but I think the Imperial Guards had a wee incident like that, didn't they?
They did
The
that.
very first parade.
Yes,
The bass drummer walked in.
That's my uncle,
Was it that walked in? I think
I
so.
walked in.
Yeah.
So
The ballard in the middle of the road and stuff.
That could be quite
Yeah.
painful. Yeah, but no.
What about poignant moments?
We found that a lot of videos mean something to somebody else.
Yeah.
So they do, even live videos. We were standing in St. Field for the St. Field Mini 12th a few years ago. Elaine was going live. And Elaine talks over her lives to tell you who the band is, where we are, what we're doing, different things like that there. And a message came up on the phone, and the lady said, that house across the street, that wee bungalow, is where I grew up. I now live in Canada.
Right.
And that was her granny's house, and that's
Oh,
where she
wow.
grew up. And we read that out live, and that just, it hit you, There was a memorable moment for somebody, and, she actually sent us a note afterwards. Thank you so much, for showing that.
But
there.
what are the chances of you setting up there?
It
Like,
is,
you know what I
it
mean?
is, it
Really
is
is.
strange. And then we had Davy Milligan in Ulster Grenadiers. His sister actually lives in Belgium.
Yeah.
And we were at Constable Anderson's parade, I think it was. And his sister said on my live stream, oh, there's my big brother. And then I, like this stupid person I am, goes running down the road after the Ulster Grenadiers just so he could say hello to her.
Right, okay. Wow.
But
But
that's
those are
great
good
one.
things.
There's been a few. We, during COVID, when bands were only going out around their local area, we decided to go over to Suffolk, Upper Falls Cross and Boys. And they were the only band walking. It was their parade, but they were the only band walking. And we decided to go over, take the cameras and go and see them. It just happened to be that the chairman was there. The chairman was terminally ill. And they came to us and says, would you take some photographs of the band with our chairman? And we says, of course, not a problem. And they done their parade, and then afterwards they went to the wee club, and they got all their photographs taken with the chairman. And about 4 weeks later, he lost his
Passed
sight.
away.
But we were there at the
Yeah.
right time, at the right place.
Kind of big sturdy, it sort of says, Neil, like you do realise it's just us. And we went, no, it's fine. But I would take photographs sort of away from everybody and try and make them as natural as possible. So there was ones of them just sort of chatting to the fellas, and so hopefully their last memories. Now the vast majority of the photographs never went up online. They were put on a memory stick, they were given to the band, and they're yours.
To deal with.
You
No.
know.
I know it can't be such a thing, and especially with the videos, and even what we found with the podcast as well. Whenever we had the Portadown Defenders podcast, and whenever one of the founder members passed away, about a year after they had done, he had taken part in the podcast, and the band had said, like, we're so glad that we got that. And even for the family, they were like going, the fact that we can go and hear his voice and hear him talking about one of the things that he loved in his life is just, it's just priceless.
Yeah, well, we've had a couple. We've had there was ones in Constable Anderson had asked us to come down as well, to do something sort of similar, that somebody who was ill, and then you took the video of Shankill Protestant Boys.
Yeah, my biggest video had about 140,000 views at the minute, and it's Shankill Protestant Boys playing Highland Cathedral at a memorial parade up at the top of the Shankill, and I was like 2 feet away from the band and just stopped and played right in front of me. And when I looked around, I was kind of the only one there, and I kind of thought that went well, and I thought that there's a good clip. And then later on, I went home, and then the message went up: has anybody seen
Framsey?
Framsey? He wasn't there that day.
All right, okay.
And that was the day that he
Yeah.
was taken. And every time I watch that video now,
I can imagine. I can imagine. Because you do,
Yeah.
you
do.
make emotional connections
You
with,
do.
with
You
people.
do,
Do you know what I mean?
you do
So,
indeed.
you know, you're
And you
talking
don't
about
know.
charitable works. I mean, there was a guy that
oh yeah,
worked his socks off
I know.
for others.
I
You
know,
know,
and it's, but out of that came Light of Food as well. I mean,
Yeah.
that was one of the stimulating factors
Yeah.
behind
Well,
Light of Food and stuff, you know, and
that's helped so many people since.
exactly that's it. And I think, I mean, there's only so much. There's in this day and age, mental health is a serious
Oh.
issue that we have in regards to that,
Yeah.
and the more help that we have
Yeah.
in that area, the better. And I suppose maybe we're heading into this question, but for me, knowing that you've put in the miles, knowing how many, how do you keep your enthusiasm up for going to parade after parade? Because some people, let's be honest, some people could go, hey, it's bands, you're hearing the same tunes, you're hearing whatever. What keeps you going back?
It's not hard to get up and go out. I
So,
mean, whenever you go in the park and somebody comes over and has a yarn and a chat, and it doesn't need to be a bandsman, it could be just Joe Public in the street that recognises you. Elaine says you could be having a bad day at work, feeling like crap, and you don't want to go anywhere but to bed. But you get your coat on, you go to a parade, and you hear the beat of a drum, and all of a sudden you're up, and you're like, where are they?
Oh,
They're coming. Get the cameras out. Get your coat on. You know, they're coming. And you get yourself ready. And it just, getting out doesn't take any really effort or work. Doing the videos on the edit. And that's the bit, that's the bit which is a wee bit more tedious.
Yeah.
A bit harder to
I'm
do.
asking Neil, can you help me do something? And he's going, no, I'm working. I've worked today. And I go, no, that is not work.
Yeah. And you go to bed at like 3 a.m. and then get up again at 7 to start again.
yeah,
You know, that's maybe the bit that needs a bit more drive.
yeah.
The going out to the parades, we reckon we've done about 97 parades.
97 parades last year.
Wow.
Not and then about another dozen indoors and stuff.
So we were somewhere just short of about 4,000 miles
Right, okay.
that we travelled.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You were getting
But-
our miles fat
but-
day and
Look, I
it's up to
mean,
the States.
I kind of don't think about it.
The rewards is so benefit. I mean, we've been taken to Scotland, we've been taken to France and Belgium. You know, we've been made honorary vice presidents of a band. You know, so memorial, we had done work with them for their anniversary and stuff. And, you know, they sent us an email, would we be honoured to be, and we thought, wow. I mean,
Yeah.
and then there's some simple little things. We were standing in Londonderry in December a couple of years ago, just after COVID. This lady came up and says, there's £20, get yourselves a wee cup of tea. And we went, no, we don't take money. It's not from me, it's from my mummy and my auntie. And we went, no, we don't take money, no. And they went, my mummy says you have to take I get a cup of tea. And she says, you don't know the joy that you bring to them.
Wow.
Through the whole of COVID, when they couldn't go out, the Sam watch videos, or Band Fan TV, or Virtual Band Pre.
Yeah, yeah.
And she says, you wouldn't believe the joy you just brought them to. So have a wee cup of tea.
Yeah.
Simple things like that, Derek.
It's a hobby for us.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is really just letting somebody share our hobby. And it's not that, I think we didn't realise the impact that it has on people until after COVID, when people actually started. I remember being on the Shankill Road and just coming down towards where the Orange Hall was, and there was loads of people over from Scotland. And it was like one of the first times everybody was coming back over, and the number of people that were going, hi Elaine, hi Neil, and I'm going, who's that, and he's going, I have no idea. Not realising that everybody was starting to recognise us.
Yeah.
And what, you know, you hear these wee stories of people coming up and telling you about, you know, that they watched this, or I was able to see my grandson. And you know, we've got to know a lady up in Londonderry, and she lets us park out the back of her house. She lives in the Fountain. And every year, Grace will send us a message before the parades in Londonderry. Now, don't forget, you can park out my back. In fact, I went by myself in December, and I didn't immediately go round to her house, and she was on the phone, "Are you not coming up?" And I says, "No, I've parked round here to get a couple of videos, and then I'll be round." You know, that people are so kind.
Yeah.
And they've made us realise how much that we're giving back to them as much as they give to us.
Yeah, because one of the things that I think people think whenever they see YouTubers and stuff now, or even anything in terms of videos, that you're making money out of it. You know, and I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, no, for me, it's cost me more money. It's cost me more money.
No, we're the same. I mean,
we don't make a penny.
We don't make a penny.
And we don't ask for a penny.
No, the way we look at it, it's a hobby. And if you have a hobby, whether it's following Liverpool or, you know, band stamps or whatever you do, you know, train spotting, you're going to spend money in your hobby. And for us, we spend money on our hobby. We got a new computer, new cameras. This year, Santa brought me a gimbal. I've even got a 360 camera this year.
Nice.
Haven't even used it. It's not out of the box yet.
Right, okay.
But, you know, so we do invest into our hobby. But, you know, the rewards you get back's well worth it, you know, whenever you get people.
Because I think the other thing is that, you know, because of the amount of parades that you are at, people forget you're holding down jobs and stuff as well. Do you know what I mean? And that's even the same here, you know, you're kind of going, like, when I work all the hours God sends me and stuff, you know, and then you still find the time to put a wee episode together or get whatever, and whenever you're like kind of going, hey, I could be doing with going home rather than setting a studio up and talking about bands. And like, but listen, hey, I love talking about this stuff, you know, and I love sharing about it, you know. You have to, I mean, but that's it. But I think one of the things it's when you care about something, and because it's like you say, a hobby, but sometimes it goes a wee bit beyond that, isn't it? Because it's almost like, for me at times, it becomes almost, it's an obsession, you know. It's like kind of going, hey, what can we share about? What positive angle can we share about? What new story can we kind of focus on? What else can we emphasize about, you know, this rich tradition that we have, and let people see the good side of things for us, you know?
And that's really what we set out to do, promote the bands, show the good side of it. The bands get so much bad press, so they do. And we thought we need to turn this around. The band scene, as you know, is enormous. From your interviews through dancing, sales of drums and everything in between, you know, and people don't understand how much is involved in it. And there's so much charity work, there's so much community work that goes on, and nobody ever sees it, nobody ever hears about it. It just goes on day in and day out, week in and week out. And we aim to share some of the good stories, promoting the band scene, the people in the band scene, and also creating memories and recording history.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's important that we do that, though, I think, and especially when you have the capacity and the means to do that, you know. It's like, looking back on it, you'll think, you know, from a historic point of view or a historical point of view, you know, when we're long gone, there's going to be that record. What was it like in 2025? What were these bands doing? What was this? You know, and having that kind of, because we've lost so much of that. I think of even, you know, in the 80s and all, and you see whenever somebody's found an old videotape and it gets up, people are well into that because the nostalgic aspect of it. But there's so much of that we just don't have a record of, and I think, you know, it's behoves us to kind of to try and make as much of that as we can.
We can tell you a wee story. So over COVID, a gentleman from Green Island says to me, I have old VHS tapes. Do you want them? And I says, what am I going to do with them? He says, put them up on your YouTube channel. And I says, well, I don't know how to do that, but yeah, I'll take them off you. So I went and received these VHS tapes, brought them home, sent to YouTube and got this cable. So there were a lot of them were old Scottish 12ths from 80s and 90s. So the first thing I done, of course, was go and look for myself at all these parades. And I found myself a couple of times. But we decided we would put them up over COVID onto YouTube, and we recorded them onto the computer, on the video, and then from the video onto the computer, and worked out how to do it the long way around, but we've done it anyway. And we put them up one a week or something like that there, and we got a wee message. I'll let you take it away.
So we got a message from this lady, and she said whatever the parade was, I'm so grateful that you've put that up. I was able to see my dad. That's the last parade he ever walked in.
Right.
And she went on to tell us this story about how her house had got broken into. They stole the video recorder and this tape was in it.
Right.
And we sort of thought, like, wow, like, it wasn't that great that she was able to see her. So we sent her a message back, thanked her for getting in touch and asked for her address. And so we could send her the video, because the video was already online. The video was no use to us anymore. And there was somebody out there who could value that. So we sent the video over, and now she's got her daddy with her.
Brilliant.
So she
Brilliant.
has that clip for...
Yeah.
There's a wee rewards that
Those
you get.
are-
But that
Those are
stuff
good
means the
things.
world to people.
Well,
That's what I mean, you know.
And that's why I said every video means something different to somebody.
Yeah.
You know, and something that you've just recorded, but that's somebody's maybe first parade or last
Yeah,
parade.
first, last, whatever. Because
Yeah.
well, here you don't know that moment, you know. So, but again, that just kind of for me reiterates, you know, that we're not just going and video on a wee parade.
No.
We're
No.
not just having an interview. We're not just having a conversation. We're actually doing something as the potential to enrich
Yeah.
somebody's life, you know, in some shape or form. And I think, and maybe we need to start seeing it that way more regularly, you know, rather than kind of, because we can really put ourselves down a lot. Oh, we're just doing wee videos and doing
Yeah.
that. And then you hear wee stories like that. But it doesn't take too long for us to forget. You know, here we're actually having an impact on people.
You
You know,
do.
and
You do.
that's
You really
and
Most
that's such a
definitely
privilege to
do.
be in people's lives like that as well.
really is.
You know,
And you don't realise how far that
it
stretches.
reaches as well. You know,
No, I have learned that. So I have. I made a big mistake last year. A certain band got a new uniform, longly anticipated uniform, and I was doing my live stream, and they came walking down the street for the very first time of me seeing them, and I sort of went, maybe it's a grower.
Oh, yeah. So,
we'll not ask you to name the band.
Oh, they know who they are because they haven't let me forget it.
That's it. Well, guys, if you write it in the comments so we all can find out who that is, all right.
It's okay. We've made up. So yeah.
but
Brilliant.
you really do. You reach out. We were in Londonderry again, August.
August.
And we go down the night before the parade. We stay and we see the cannons being fired and all this here. And this guy came up and he says, I can't believe it's on the march. I can't believe it's on the march.
Can I get my photo taken with you?
Yes.
I need a selfie.
Brilliant.
He was from Sydney.
Right? Oh, wow.
And he
watches
watches the
our
videos.
videos.
All,
Madness.
and, you know, him and his mate, he's in Sydney, his mate was in Canberra. And he was telling us that his lodge is in Canberra.
Yeah.
And he flies 2 hours to his lodge meeting and flies 2 hours home.
Seriously.
There's some
That's
dedication.
crazy.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Some guys can't even walk 10 minutes
Oh, I
straight
know.
to their lodge meeting, you know, saying nothing. But that, no, I think that's one of the things that you don't realise just the reach there, because obviously people from Northern Ireland have,
Yep.
you know, disappeared. They're almost all over the place. You know, I mean, I think Canada, there's a
Yeah.
massive expat, you know, community in Canada, and a connection in terms of the fact that, you know, one of the things we've talked about a lot here is the second longest running 12th of July parade in the world is Toronto.
Yes.
You know, they could do with an influx of bonds over there. I tell you, you know, they're really cool. I'm not saying the bonds there, they do their best, don't they? I mean, there's some decent wee bonds out there, but you know, I think back to what it used to be like in Toronto, and the parade was massive, and now you're lucky. There's maybe 5-6 bonds, and you get the odd bond from here that goes over. Who was it? Part of the
Pride of
purchase?
Purchase.
Yeah. They loved that. I have to say, they
had a
absolutely loved it.
fantastic time.
You know, and I've seen the videos of them when they have the wee indoor section
Yeah.
after the parade and all of it, and they were going. The people were going nuts.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, I have a friends out there, like going, it's an accordion band. Calm down, would you? Sort of.
I think that's one for our wives list to get out.
Yeah. See, I was supposed to do the Toronto parade. I was supposed to work with the Cambridge Crown Defenders. And but that was the year I got invited was COVID, and they cancelled the parade. It was supposed to be the 200th.
Yeah,
Remember
that's right.
there was supposed to be
Yeah.
the 200th.
There was a big orange kid.
Yeah, exactly. There's a whole thing, and then I missed out on it. And then I was there in the summer, and I was over visiting family, obviously, because that's where my sisters and all are. And one of the guys says, "There's a parade on when you're here. Do you think you may be able to make it?" And I says, "Well, where is it?" And he told me the place, and I was like, oh, man, that's going to be a 3.5 hour drive just for me to get there. And then, but that's not long. And I'm like, you know, and I was like, going, yeah, that means I'm going to have to leave the house at about 6 in the morning. And then by the time I get back, whatever else, that's me. As much as I love all this, that's me missing the whole day with my family.
Yeah.
And I don't really always have the gap in between me seeing those guys seems to get longer and longer and stuff, you know. So you try to make the most, make the most of it. So in terms of plans and projects and stuff coming up this year, what's new for you in terms of On the March and Bonfant TV? What are some of the things that you've got coming up?
Well, we're back to Scotland with Sam. Really, really looking forward to it. Actually, I looked at my phone earlier on, 122 days.
Okay, not that just kind
Not that I'm counting, but what I'm counting for is last year, normally we go over and it's Friday night is Lark Hall Purple Heroes. We didn't get last year the way the dates fell, but this year we'll be back to Lark Hall, and it is an amazing parade. Really, really love it. The boys in Lark Hall make us feel so welcome, and it's their anniversary.
70 years.
70, right? Okay.
So we'll be over for it, and then the June Rally with the Apprentice Boys, and it's in Lark Hall. So we're in Lark Hall for 2 parades, so it'll be really good to be there.
Nice trip to Scotland. What
Trip to
else?
Scotland.
We've 2 invites to go to France and Belgium.
Right, okay.
So we're heading away in June, hopefully with...
You just may get a wee place out there.
We've been invited with Cormine, Rising Sun.
Okay, great.
They're going at the start of June.
Yeah, they're going for the 1st of July.
1st of July,
Which
sorry,
will
yeah,
be very,
June.
it will be very
And we're going with Pride Ashore at the end of August.
That'll be some
Yeah.
some trip with those guys, won't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure they take there because they've grown, haven't they?
They have.
They have grown
They have.
immensely over the last, because they used to be one of those wee tight, they're smaller band, you know, they were
Yeah.
now they've obviously the numbers and they're still a great playing
Yeah.
band, but great to see them, you know, expanding in terms of in the play and stuff. And they're one of those bands that, like you were talking about, when they have their home parade, there's like a gazillion kids with bomb poles in front of them and
to
stuff,
do
like,
that
you know.
in purpose. You get all the kids out, give them flags, give them bomb poles, get them walking around.
Brilliant. So a couple of trips to
Belgium.
France and Belgium, and that's always poignant. And I think no matter how many times you find yourself in France and Belgium, that there's something new that gets you every time you're there.
My first time was with Donna Money, and it was really, I enjoyed it, and it was very, very interesting. But I think we were that busy taking photographs, doing the videos, capturing every single moment. The whole poignancy of it was missed for us until we came home. With a couple of days off after we arrived home, and we were at the caravan. We went to the cinema in Portrush, and we were there to see The Great Escaper with Michael Caine in it. And right at the end of the film, he's the guy that went to the D-Day landings and escaped from the nursing home. And right at the end of it, he goes to visit the grave of the person that he made friends with during the war. And I looked at Neil and they looked at me, and the two of us were blubbering. And it really hit home then, you know, what it was that we had just witnessed over the past 5 days that we were there. You know, it just, it really hit home.
I know. I missed out on it this time because the Raven were there in the summer. And I missed out because I was in the States. I was in Canada in the States. But I made a point of going to Arlington, the military cemetery at Arlington when I was in Washington, just to sort of make some kind of connection with her. And I was absolutely blown away. Have you seen the changing of the guard there at the Tomb of the Unknown? Because they have the Tomb of the Unknown soldier there as well.
Right.
But they have a guard who walks up and down there. It's like it's manned 24 hours a day, and they just start, and just the atmosphere, even it's just one person, and you hear the click of the heels and all as they walk along, and we're there for the change of the guard. And there's obviously it's a tourist attraction and stuff as well, but the guy comes out, there's whatever, the sergeant major or whatever comes out, and he bellows if you're sitting on the ground, like he's on your feet. You know, and you're like going, I was on my feet straight away, like but it was people sitting there like going, hey, whatever. But it was like, well, no, you don't sit down for this here. This is about people's lives. It's
Yeah.
about sacrifices,
Respect.
it's about respect and stuff, you know. And it was like, I was glad I was able to get to that and have some kind of connection. I'd rather have been at the Man and Gate, to be honest with you, you know, but, you know, because that's something else too.
Yeah, well, hopefully get another chance to get there.
No, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll be good to see the Men and Gate now. A lot of
The
golf
rubber's
action,
been done, yeah,
the scaffold
definitely.
malls going down.
Yeah.
So we're really looking forward to getting away in the summer. So we
Yeah, brilliant.
and
And when he's there, when he's in,
we're actually going to just the end
29th
of
of June.
June. So we're going to be at the Ulster Tower for the 1st of July.
oh wow,
Which
brilliant.
is something that really made
Wow.
us. We didn't even sort of take a second guess at that when we jumped on it.
Oh,
Yeah.
completely.
We did, and we'd already agreed to go with Pride Show before that, and we couldn't say no. Like the 1st of July, so
You couldn't get much
No.
more pointed than that either, could you? My goodness.
yeah. So
Wow.
it's going to be very, very good.
Oh, well.
You know.
So the last, you've been with Ulster Grenadiers, and
Yeah.
we were both with Donna Money, so we documented it, sort of like almost like a video library of their whole diary of them the whole time there. So we hope to do something similar
Yeah.
for both
Those days,
bands,
okay, brilliant.
and give it to them. That's their
Yeah.
sort of memory of.
So keepsake.
Because it means that they can concentrate on what they're doing, and with you guys being around and just, hey, get on with what you need to get on to,
Yeah.
be completely invested in that and let someone else capture the memories and stuff. I think that's fantastic.
And I
Brilliant.
think we've done a money. Elaine took something like 15,000 photos.
Wow.
It took me months to go through them.
That was only in the band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and there's hours and hours of video. But, you know, our thank you for them to the band for taking us is simply to make a film or a documentary about the trip. It doesn't go on YouTube. It doesn't go out
Just
to
for
the public.
them, yeah.
It's just for them.
Yeah.
And you donate it to the band, and it's a thank you. And they really do appreciate it. It's a keepsake of memory.
Yeah, no, and I know those things can be so important because I know that whenever, like we're saying, even for the band being there, just getting caught up in the moment and not getting, because it's, I know what it's like, you know, you go and you're swept up in the moment and you go, oh, I wish I'd have got this or I wish I'd have got that. And it's a fine line to kind of walk, isn't it? Because I know there's times you're going, I should really have had my camera out, and then other times you're going, no, hey, do you know what? Maybe I should have just left my phone in my pocket and just really experienced this. For what it was, you know, and walk away with that, because sometimes what you put in your heart that way is worth more than the picture you have. You know what I mean? You'd just be able to recall, like you guys are talking about that now. You're able to recall something and go, "Whoa, that hit me," and you might not have the photograph or anything off that there, but you're able to recall it, and you know, get back into it. It's so important that we do that. Any new types of content that you're coming up with? Anything new you're adding to the roster?
I'm looking forward to using the 360 camera and
Right.
how that works.
Okay,
you know,
cool. Have you an idea what you're going to do with that? Have you where you're going to put
I
it?
think a lot of it's going to be for France and Belgium
Right,
and stuff,
okay.
really, you know. But we have been kind of changing what we do. There's a lot of videographers out there at the minute, a lot of new guys too, and they're fantastic with their editing, and they're doing great stuff with shorts and TikTok and stuff like that there. So we kind of feel like the granny and granddad of the family. We're the
Right.
eldest, so we do, and we're friendly with everyone. I mean, they all come and talk to us. I mean, a lot of them, or some of them are quite young, and they all send you messages. So you go into this parade, you go into that parade. So over the last year or so, we have kind of changed our attitude to try and, instead of doing more, but to do better. So we're concentrating more on our editing and stuff. We've done a lot of things now with 2 cameras and then swapping angles and swapping our picture in picture. We've done a lot
good,
there.
good.
And just trying to make it a bit better, a bit more professional, and try and work on the quality so that when people do look back,
Yeah.
they can see, you know, because I have videos from 2010, and I don't know how we ever put them onto YouTube because they're shocking.
Embarrassing.
You know,
But I mean, I think it was back in the day. Well, I'll have a camera.
Yeah.
I'll just go and have a go. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's like the conversation we were having before we started.
Yeah.
Even, you know, in the interview type, you know, we're talking about, you know, gear, different types of setup. The you know, hey, I've got 1 million hard drives that I'm trying to find footage from and stuff. And you know, it can kind of take over your life and stuff. But you're always searching. I mean, I think for me, for progress wise, you're always trying to find something that changes it up, you know. And I think that's something we experienced here at Made to Pray, because we've done loads of episodes. It was just tell us your band story.
Yeah.
You know, and then 50 or so episodes of that there, you kind of go, I think we've maybe got that.
Yeah.
You know, and where do you go next? And I think that's where we ended up taking a break for a while to kind of regroup and kind of come back in and go, well, here, maybe we should focus in on some other stuff. And you need to do that.
That's it. Well, that's why you want to bring back the 5-question interview with different questions.
Yeah. It was a success at the start, went really well. So I think we'll try and revive that, bring that back and sort of with a fresh approach on it.
Dig a wee bit deeper into it.
And, you know, some of the questions will be a bit more thought-provoking, so they will. So it won't be maybe just stand at the side of the road and sort of round the answers off.
And we've been asked to go and see, the way we did with Corncastle with the kids, we've been asked to go and see a few other bands that are doing things a wee bit different. So we'll hopefully get that organised and get dates in the diary for those.
I've been struggling to follow the bands lately with bad knees. So lately we've been doing full parades rather than individual clips. But that's went down quite well too over the last year.
Yeah, well, you gotta respond with what you're able to do as well. You got to adapt.
And then through people's requests, what we do is we put the name of the band on the video, so you know bands can see who they are, because not always you can see the drums. If the bass drummer's facing you, you can't always see who the band is, and not every band puts their name on the skit.
Well, that's it, exactly. So, or sometimes a band's borrowed another band's bass drum.
Yeah,
you know.
So you know, we're trying to improve the editing, improve the videos and the quality, and just try and
change it up a wee bit.
Yeah.
Good. Well, speaking of a 5-question interview, you know, that I've come up with my own for you here. So I hope you are prepared for this here. So you are now going to be put under scrutiny yourselves as well. So I thought this would be a nice touch. I think I thought this would be a nice touch in terms of me nicking one of your wee your features and stuff. So
I might nick your questions.
Okay, so the first question I have you, what was the moment that first made you fall in love, not with each other, but with the marching band scene?
Well, for me, I remember getting so excited to carry the string for my daddy's lodge, and you know, the band being out in front, the banner flying, and the lodge around me, and just being in the parade. And I remember my dad's lodge at that time was quite big. It's my lodge now. I joined it after a while. But they had to take the kids. There was that many kids that wanted to walk. They had to take the names about March. And I remember saying to my dad, did you put my name down? Did you put my name down? That was March for July. So even then, I got so excited that I just wanted to be in the parade or part of it. And I just kind of fell in love. And I remember a lot of years later, I had joined the juveniles and I was out at Easter with the juveniles. And we took this new band on the road. And it was White Abbey Protestant Boys. And my dad had friends in the band that were in his lodge. And my dad came home from lodge one night and says to me and my brother, would you like to join the band? The band's looking some juniors. And we went, oh, didn't have to ask twice.
Brilliant.
And we were down that Wednesday night and we joined up. The band had only been going a lot of months. And we joined in a couple of months after the first parade, you know, was Easter, and we joined a couple of weeks later. So we really just fell for it, hook, line, and sinker.
Nice one. And Lane, you don't get off with this, so you have to...
I was basically born into the marching bands. My dad was in an accordion band. He was an old Park accordion from the Shankill.
Yeah.
And he was entering into the NIBA competition in the Ulster Hall a Friday night. And he got a phone call to the Ulster Hall to tell him my mum was in labour.
Right.
And his response was, could you keep your legs crossed? I'm about to go on stage. I'll only be a few minutes and I'll be there. So literally, bands have always been in my life. And the band, my mum, we would always joke, the band came first. You walked in through our front door and there would have been music stands, there would have been, the accordion would have been sitting, there was amplifiers, there was all sorts.
Right.
And I went to band practice on a Monday night with my daddy, done homework, was involved in absolutely everything that they were doing. So it's always been there.
So you had no choice,
I had no
really?
choice.
No choice. Okay. So you're just cajoled right from the moment of birth. That's it. So brilliant. So here, the second question I'm asking is, if you could bring back or create one tradition or feature for bands and parades, what would it be and why? That's quite the question. I'm just thinking
really
about it.
is.
It's taken a lot of thought. This one, I've come back to another memory.
Right.
For when I joined the band, competitions were a big go, and you got trophies in, like 3 foot high trophies sometimes. And I have loads of photographs of me and my brother in the band. But one of the things the band used to do was, if you won trophies, you maybe walk back to the bus with your trophies in front of the band. Or what White Abbey done quite often was, if we were coming back from a parade, somebody at the phone White Abbey Station says, look, we've got a few trophies here, we're going to walk down to the band hall, is that all right? And the wee policeman used to say, all right, go ahead, no problem. I would like to see bands walking again without 11 bar 1. If it's a short parade, round the corner, down the street, show your trophies off. All these restrictions, there's changes and there's changes for a reason. And we understand that. And for some of these massive parades, there has to be restrictions, has to be traffic control. But, I would love to see bands, with the trophies out the front, the kids carrying the trophies, walking along, showing off, this is how we done tonight. I would like to see it come back. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I have memories of that myself, of walking in front of the band with the trophies. But those are back in the days when you just walk wherever you want.
More or less.
there's none of this film forms. And Elaine, what about you? Anything you create or bring back?
What did we say earlier on? We went through all these.
Yeah, more or less.
To be honest with you, I can't remember what traditions have been taken away, because I suppose whenever I grew up in the bands, my dad's band never competed that way. I mean, a lot of their things that they did were all like parks engagements and all, because they were more of a concert band. So going out to the band parade things really didn't start until Neil was the bad influence on me, So
Okay.
I just want to see bands growing and evolving, and that, continuing the way they're going, how they are technically getting better and better, regardless of whether they're Blood and Thunder, accordion, melody, or whatever, and seeing that investment going in. I think bands need more investment in them.
Yeah. It's one of those things, when I was thinking about this as well, I know these are your questions, but I was thinking about the development of those family type areas at parades, and having the more of an inclusive aspect, and one of those things. And I suppose this is kind of stealing my thunder for a bit of an idea that I had for with the Belfast 12th, would be about how we could create a safer space at some point along the parade for neurodiversity, etc. That you had a dedicated area that bands acknowledged and things like that. There's something kind of working through with the county on as an idea as to, is that something we could introduce into the parade,
You quite often find that in most towns, a lot of the people that go to watch the parade go to the main street. And quite often there are quiet areas, and normally Elaine and I go and find them for doing our videos.
Sure.
So people aren't walking in front of the camera or shouting over your shoulder and stuff like that there. So there are always quieter areas, and you quite do find that's where the families go. And the kids are playing, and they've got their band poles and their flags and stuff. And that's even just band parades, not without the the loyal orders and all that there. So there are those areas.
Yeah.
And I remember a lot of years ago, there was a Catholic guy that used to watch our videos right and regular, and he loved the bands. And he says, do you ever think I could come to a parade? And I says, you let me know when you want to come, and I'll bring you to a parade. And I'll take you to a spot where nobody else will bother you, and you can stand with us, and you'll be 100% safe. He says, I'd love to come, but he never ever did.
Right, okay.
But there are those spaces, so that is something that would work.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then, so third question, there's a wee bit of a continual, a continuum in terms of this, but what's one thing you'd like to see evolve or improve in the band scene in the next few years?
I suppose that goes back to my sort of their music and how they're evolving. I mean, was it last year, the year before the year before we were in Carrick, and I was wandering, trying to find where Neil had gone, looking for the video camera, and Robert Graham came round the corner, and they were playing a march that I would have thought, my dad's band would have played that, or I would expect a melody band to play that. I can't remember what it was, but they blew me away.
It was Glanthia.
Was it?
Because they started playing the adjutant as well.
Like,
The adjutant. Sorry, that's what it was.
and I just thought, I think with the buildings and the noise,
The
but
atmosphere.
they were amazing. So they were, and I thought,
with parts and all, they were
wow.
playing with
Yeah.
parts and all, yeah.
And I thought, wow, that is brilliant. And you expect East Belfast Protestant Boys. That some of the tunes that they play as well, and Drumdarg and all,
Yeah.
they really are fantastic.
Okay, so tunes and to keep developing.
Yes, keep
and
developing.
stuff.
And do you know what one of my pet hates is? I'm going to get it out there. So it is, you see, when a band starts off, these bands playing the exact same thing every time they move off. Give me something different.
Okay, well, there you go, folks.
I like to change it up.
Elaine doesn't like that, so sort it out.
She's already told them. They know who they are. Uh-huh.
And what about you, Neil?
Well, thinking about going away to France and Belgium, I would like to see the bands educate the youth more.
Okay.
I would like to see more education in our traditions, our culture, and our history, and the music, the songs. We play the tunes, but there's a song normally attached to it. Why do we play these tunes? Why do we celebrate on the 1st of July? And a lot of bands are doing that by taking the kids away, showing them what it's all about. But I think there needs to be more of that. And I think bands could do a lot more for the kids that's in the band. A lot of them are teaching them how to match, discipline, how to read music. It's all fantastic. But I think to keep the Protestant tradition and heritage and culture going, we need to teach our kids why we do what we do, and why we celebrate the 11th day, why are we having bonfires. And I think there's a place there's people in every band with a bit of know-how. They can sit down and just take 10 minutes with a kid and tell them, we're doing this because, and you can do it in fun ways, and show them what it's all about. And we're not just doing it because we've always done it.
Yeah.
So I think more education.
Yeah, no, I like that. So, question 4 then, all right. If you had an unlimited budget and full creative control, what dream project would you produce for On the March or Bonfant TV?
Well, when it's Champions League and you can go on to your
Amazon Prime or
Amazon
Sky.
Prime or Sky, and you've got a choice of maybe 20 different games to watch. Well, we would like to take the 12th of July
We're going to be on the march in 18 venues,
live.
bringing you live coverage
Wow.
of every parade.
And
in
that's the
Northern
one,
Ireland.
if you had an unlimited budget, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
18 camera crews, maybe even 2 or 3 camera crews at each parade, all streaming live around the world. Northern Ireland's marching bands on the biggest day of the year.
I like that, that's good.
Full. You can choose your parade.
You can
Let's sit at home.
I'll-
all the-
I'll
On demand,
I'll
12.
start,
I'll
I'll
start-
start, I'll start in Belfast, and then I'll move to Ballymena. I'll go to Clockfern and watch East Antrim Combine. I'll go down to Bangor and I'll see what's happening
That's
down
it.
there.
If someone drops their bomb pool, you could do a VAR or replay and stuff,
So, with
Every single
unlimited
one.
budget,
Yeah.
stream
Wow, I
live.
like that. That's kind of cool. Could you imagine of all the videographers who are out and about, kind of wanted together and said, why don't we just
Yeah.
do this as a
Take a
project
venue.
together,
Well,
and
we
Wow.
kind of would do that normally when we're trying to decide what parade we're going to.
Yeah.
If it's some of the bigger parades, we would sort of say, well, who's going there, and we'll work it out. And then if there's a smaller parade on, we would kind of
go to the
drift towards
smaller one,
it.
yeah. No, but I even just thinking from the idea of that as a project, I mean, amazing if they could all bond it together and go, well, here, listen, here's one way we could do that, because it would take away from, because people were, talk about the BBC not doing the coverage, and then obviously GB News have taken up bits and pieces. But it's not the same, in terms of, and then, but you think about the views that full 12 parades get, and, people are looking for, oh, here, I didn't get to see that. Going back that whole, I'm in Canada, I'm in Australia, and whatever else and stuff, and being able to see a full parade. But even being, the other one would be great for it, and this is just to throw you in regards to that. We have the virtual headsets. This may come in with your 360-degree kind of thing. The whole idea of being able to be in the parade, have you seen those bars in America where people are sitting watching the football, but the whole
Yeah.
they're in. It looks like they're actually in the stadium. Wouldn't that be mad for a parade as well?
I just need a band to let me volunteer to put the 360 camera on top of the
A
bass
bass
drum.
drum, aye,
And then you have a
or
full,
somebody's hat.
full view of the band from inside the band.
Band. I love that idea, and man, I'm all for that. So that it just needs to be, if somebody's beating a leaf out of the bass drum, though, that thing's going all over the place. Like, you know what I mean? So
Maybe take it back or something.
maybe it's on a harness or something up over the top or whatever else, or just let them walk along
We'll hold it.
with behind holding it up, because you can.
Yeah,
know?
I've got myself a gimbal, so I need to work.
But there is, but I think there's innovation to happen
There
there.
is.
Do you know what I mean? In terms of those 360 cameras are amazing. So I've wondered, and I did a conference on it, but BC being able just to swing around. Now the editing takes a bit. You're worried about the editing. The editing on this takes a wee bit of time, but the fact that every angle is already caught for you, and you can just turn it around and get the one that you want. Take a wee bit of time getting used to, but hey, it could make a massive difference to the types of videos, and even those being able to focus in on a person and stuff, you know, knowing that you can go in and focus in on that person for the duration of that thing, even for someone, is amazing.
Yeah.
So that's brilliant. So I like that. I like those ideas. Those are good. But so your last question, all right. Question 5. What do you hope your channel's lasting impact will be on the marching band community?
I think that we've created memories.
Recorded history.
Yeah, and we've preserved history for future generations to come, and that we've been able to show the positive, unique culture that we have here in Northern Ireland and across and wherever we go.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
You know, just being able to show the talent that we have within the ranks.
Great.
And the good work that goes on within the community, the charity work as well. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And bring a wee smile to people's faces.
There we go. Well, I think you're doing that already. So, well, folks, I have to say thanks very much for coming in and having the conversation with us. And it's been nice to kind of do a wee, almost like a joint kind of episode. It's good to get another aspect of the band scene together and to do an episode of the podcast together. So I really appreciate the effort that you guys put in, week out, doing the videos, and just for giving up another night to come here and talk to us on Made the Parade.
Especially on such an important night. We'd just like to wish you a happy birthday.
Oh, gee, look at this here. Thank you.
Even
Oh
an
my
on the
goodness, a
lunch
t-shirt. Oh. Brilliant. Oh man, that's made my day there. Brilliant. My kids have got me nothing, so listen,
very happy
thank
birthday.
you very much. I really appreciate that. No, thank you. And I hope you go from strength to strength.
Thank
So
you
thank
so
you very
much,
much.
and you too.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Good job. Alrighty, folks. Well, I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Neil and Elaine. Absolutely delighted to have both of them here with us for the podcast and to share something about their journey and their love for bands. I know I got invigorated from listening to their passion for what they do, and I know a lot of you out there follow them. And if you're not a follower of On the March videos, then make sure you get on to their socials, give them a like on Facebook, follow them on YouTube, etc. Make sure you subscribe to their channel as well. Get caught up with Bonfan TV and everything as well. So, folks, until the next episode, look after yourselves and take it easy.